I get a lot of requests to kind of go over Xbox Game Pass titles, talk about them, and make some suggestions. So that's what we're doing today. I'm going to kind of go through the list, and this should be representative of May 2021. I don't know if I'm going to be doing this monthly or every so often, but I thought this might be helpful for people that keep asking about, what kind of games should they check out, what sort of options are out there. I will mention that Dragon Quest Builders 2 is not present on this list, and it is worth playing. It's a really cool sort of survival title, and that's going to release in early May. So let's start off with Alan Wake. This is a great psychological thriller. It's a very well done story. It's one of the gems of the 360 library, an absolute masterpiece of that era, and a good versus dark sort of battle. It's very, very well done and highly worth checking out. Next up is Alice Madness Returns. This is a bit of a 3D platformer with a twist of darkness, and there's a lot of narrative in this one, and it's sort of a really sick and twisted take on kind of the story of Wonderland. Very, very good, very well worth checking out. Keeping in mind that some of the titles are available on EA Play through Game Pass, so you do need Game Pass Ultimate for those. Then we have Alien Isolation, which is an excellent horror title. It's very spooky, very scary, very atmospheric. And it also captures the Aliens franchise very beautifully. You're playing as Ripley's daughter, and I think it's really quite well done. This is Ark Survival Evolved. It's an open world survival game with dinos and other monsters. Play alone, play with others. There's lots of settings for adjusting how you play and how you experience the title. A lot of people love that game. This is the Banjo-Kazooie franchise. Now, for this one, the 3D platformer, it hasn't necessarily aged the best mechanics-wise, but it's still a beloved sort of experience and definitely worth checking out. I think they're quite fun. Nuts and bolts, a little bit different, but the first two, I think, you'll definitely enjoy narrative-wise. Astroneer is a very interesting sort of survival game with a neat geometry aesthetic that you kind of dig through the world and you break things down and you try to collect minerals and stuff to build materials to survive. This is the Bard's kind of collection, as to say. I suggest starting out with the Bard's Tale ARPG remastered or resnarkled. It's quite fun, it's a little bit weird, and it's not going to be for everyone, but I find them very, very funny. These games are definitely humorous and over the top. And there's different when you go to the fourth one. Just keep in mind the trilogy is a bit of an older style game, so you might be kind of hard to get into the series. It won't be for everyone, but I definitely found this one quite funny. Now we go to the Battlefields. Now there's a lot of really good Battlefield games. These are multiplayer focused. Your best bets for online multiplayer for Battlefield for competing with others is going to be Battlefield 5, 4, and Battlefield 1. There's actually a respectable amount of people that play Hardline, but you're going to have a hard time finding players in the Bad Company titles and in Battlefield 3. Not to say they're not there, you're just going to have a harder time coming across them. Now, with that, if you want story, Battlefield 3, 4, and the Bad Companies actually have really good stories, and the Battlefield 1 and 5 have like little smaller stories. I didn't think the Battlefield Hardline story was that great. So if I have to suggest a Battlefield title, I would say balance of people online and playing and stuff, Battlefield 1 might be your best go. Battlefield 4, I think, has sort of the best multiplayer setup of the package for people that are still playing it. So it comes down to a little bit of preference on the Battlefield experiences of what you like. Next up is Battletoads. I feel like this was like criminally underplayed by people. It is a really good sort of modern take on the whole brawling sort of genre. Now, I don't like the mini games that come up in a later chapter of the game. I mean, I did a whole walkthrough of this thing. You can see me just complaining. They're very frustrating and terrible. But the actual combative elements of this game are very well done. It's a very neat experience. This one's kind of a neat sort of you're spying on people and stuff for the government. The concept of it's quite fascinating. It won't be for everyone, but it's very interesting. Black Desert MMORPG experience. It's kind of an interesting thing. I actually quite enjoyed it, but another one of those ones where it's quite repetitive in the battle and the grinding of a lot of combat scenarios. So keep that in mind. But some people will probably really love it. Burnout Paradise Remastered. It's so. I mean, it hasn't aged the best, but people still love it. Killer soundtrack. Cool open world, lots of different things you can do. Brutal Legend is a delightful sort of experience where you're commanding a group of like an army of soldiers. You can do it where it's full language and like brutality and stuff, or not have that on. It's entirely up to you and how you want to play the game. Right at the beginning, they give you those choices. Jack Black voices the main character. He's delightful, and this is actually quite a fun game. It's very interesting, unique, and quite different. So I like Bleeding Edge, but there's Not too many people on it. It's a multiplayer game. Blair Witch, single player horror, kind of spooky, kind of weird. So. Black is a classic shooter. That one's definitely not going to have aged well for everyone. Call of the Sea is a really neat sort of adventure-esque title where you're solving puzzles. It's quite beautiful. You might find that one cool. This is a very violent title where it's like a bit of a 2D setup where you're going through the environment, smashing, destroying people. It's kind of cool, but a little bit hard to move around in that one. I found myself getting lost a lot. Celeste is supposed to be just like a damn treasure of gaming. So if you like, I guess, the 2D platformers with a little bit of an extra edge and mystery to it, you might love that one. Children of Mort is actually cool because you kind of work through like a lineage of your family. That's sort of an interesting 2D melee battling sort of thing, but kind of, I don't know how to describe it, more of an RPG-esque take as opposed to like a brawler, if that makes sense. City Skylines, basically the successor to the SimCity franchise. You build a city, one of the best games available on the console, and it's really quite cool. Crackdown 3, not enough love, but it's actually a really good sort of title. You can play in co-op with a pal. Big, large-scale city, interesting campaign. The multiplayer portion of it doesn't work anymore because there's no one playing it, but you can still do online co-op if you're wondering. It's just the competitive side of things. Like, I can never find anyone playing that game. But yeah, Crackdown 3, actually pretty good story and stuff. So Control is cool. If you're on anything other than the Series X, I do suggest playing this, or Series S also, because this version is the non-optimized, non-next-gen version of the game, so keep that in mind. But it's still an absolute treasure. I gave it a Game of the Year for 1 year. It was very, very well done. Kind of Dark Souls, but vampires and stuff with a different aesthetic, sort of anime thing, but eh. The Crysis titles, some people really like them, first-person shooter experiences. They haven't aged the best, but, they're kind of neat experiences you might like. Cyber Shadow, really cool, edgy sort of combat to it. It's a 2D sort of platforming fighting game. DayZ, gotta give a shout out to that one. Play a ton of it on the channel. Open world zombie survival game, multiplayer only. Do not ask if it has single player. It does not. You play online, you try to survive, the game just really wants to kill you and end your life in many, many ways. And yeah, it's definitely not easy going, but a lot of people absolutely love the feedback loop on this one. Dead by Daylight Special Edition. So this is the ultimate horror game. You're working in an asymmetrical multiplayer 4v1. One person the killer, 4 people working together as survivors. Tons of different horror IP come together here. Movies, games, original horror IP are all present in this title. It's beautiful. It's a great multiplayer game. A lot of fun. Deep Rock Galactic, great co-op title. Great for working together in groups. You're kind of mining stuff and then escaping and fighting bug-type creatures. Really good. The Dead Space trilogy is a gem of games. Very, very well done. Sort of solo horror. The third one adds a bit of co-op to it. But yeah, these are definitely worth playing together in a bunch. Very, very well done titles. Dead Cells is an absolute masterpiece of the Souls-like genre in a 2D sort of platforming combat type game with roguelite elements. Very, very well done. Desperados 3, absolutely great Western experience where it's a strategy game where you can kind of pause and make plans and stuff like that. You got your Destinies. I mean, I don't think I need to explain this. Shooter, or RPG, MMORPG to some degree, anything like that. You do a bunch of quests and stuff. They add content, they take content away. Nah, I'm not even going to dive into it. Dirt 5 is an excellent arcade title and a great showcase of next-generation racing. And I say arcade as in it's more of a light casual sort of racing thing with gorgeous tracks and set lists. And very, very well done game. Beautiful. Dishonored series plays sort of Bioshock-esque, very cool, sort of unique series. I need to dive into it more personally, but quite liked what I played of Dishonored 1. Disneyland Adventures is great for the younger audience. Donut County is a bit of a quirky, fun little thing, not too long. You just kind of make bigger and bigger holes. It was entertaining. Obviously, the Doom franchise is iconic in gaming, absolutely delightful titles. I'm surprised Doom 2016 isn't here. Hopefully it'll come in the near future, but yeah. Classic Doom, 93, Classic Doom 2, and Doom 64 is sort of a classic retro style, but like in modern time it was made. Then you have Doom 3, which is an excellent classic horror, more horror-driven than any of the other ones. It's a little bit slower, a little bit darker, but very beautiful. Well-done title. Doom Eternal is an incredibly fast-paced, awesome, modern Doom, crazy game. Definitely a enjoyable time. Dragon Age series, I never really got into these too much, but RPG-type things where you've got a band, a group. Dragon Quest, quite a few people love this one. I was like, okay, it's quite beautiful and sort of charming, and it's not gonna be for everyone, but similar along those lines. Drake Hollow is a really good sort of cooperative focused defend your fort, go out and scavenge, come back with those resources, and build up your area. It's neat. Then you've got your sports titles. I think some of these are being removed soon, so keep that in mind if you want to check them out. You'll see four. Oh, that's not even on the list yet. I don't know. So you got your FIFAs and stuff. You know all about those. And you got your PS, so more soccer. And then we've got our Elder Scrolls. So we've got Morrowind, Skyrim, the Elder Scrolls Online. I think Oblivion's supposed to be here. It might be in a different part of the list. Anyways, Morrowind hasn't aged the best, so if you're looking for a nostalgic experience, you might like that. Skyrim's obviously the masterpiece of the Elder Scrolls franchise, mods, everything like that. 100% worth checking out. Elder Scrolls Online is a similar experience, no mods, but you can play with others in this massive, ever-expanding world that seems to grow every single year. Definitely worth it and a great time. Elite Dangerous for those realistic flight sim in space. That's for you. Turn-based Mafia type thing. I played a bit of it for a playlist last month, but I'm like, so. Evil Within, really good horror title, now first party, definitely worth checking out. It's kind of a creepy third-party one. The Fable games are absolute gems. Fable 2 is considered the best of the franchise. You don't have to play them in order, it doesn't matter. Fable 1 hasn't aged necessarily the best. 2 and 3 are your best bets. People don't like 3 as much. I like 3, but Fable 2 is the best of the bunch. We got your Fallouts. So Fallout 4, I think, is my favorite there of that lineup. Really good, well done. Solo player experience, building settlements, custom things like that. Then you've got Fallout 76, which is like a multiplayer spin on the franchise. Combat-wise, it borrows a lot from Fallout 4 and does multiplayer with it. They've improved it a lot. The story stuff's actually pretty good and worth checking out. Fallout New Vegas, people love it. They just can't go without it. It hasn't aged the best traveling-wise, but it's still a really worthwhile experience that a lot of people really do enjoy. Feeding Frenzies, they're gems, iconic titles, 100% worth checking out. You're eating and growing bigger and bigger. They're actually really delightful and cute titles. More FIFAs. You got your Fight Night Champion, which is like the last boxing game, and I think the only one really you can play these days. And you got your Final Fantasies. I don't know. 7's considered iconic. People love 9. It's whatever you want for your Final Fantasies. They've got a few of them. And then your Five Nights at Freddy's, which are horror games for the kiddos. Football Manager, that kind of one. Frostpunk's kind of an RTS Frost sort of thing, so that's kind of neat. Fractured Minds is leaving right away. The Forzas, the greatest racing game ever made, Forza Horizon 4. Great track-based Forza titles in motorsport. Take your pick. Do you want open world? Do you want tracks? You got your choices. Fusion Frenzy, well, not aged the best, is a sort of a classic party-type game. It's actually pretty fun, but, a Full Throttle Remastered, one of the most iconic, I guess you could say, point-and-click titles ever, or old-school adventure titles ever made. It's kind of a neat biker gang thing. You got your Gears of War games. I love all the franchise. Gears Tactics is sort of a XCOM take on it, and Gears Judgment is a spin-off title that focuses on two of the characters, Cole and Baird. So if you like those two from the other ones, it's worth checking out in that regard. So play Gears Ultimate, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Definitely all worth it. 1 you don't really need to anymore. It hasn't aged. Ultimate replaces 1, obviously being a bit of a really well done remaster on that. Genesis Noir is a game that I would literally consider to be art. It's fantastic. It's very good, very unique, and I'm still working through it, but it's a gem. Grim Fandango is actually considered one of the greatest games ever made. If you go and look at lists and stuff online, Epic Story, again, kind of falls into the line of Full Throttle, but apparently it's just absolutely amazing. I need to take a night and do that sometime. Greedfall is a really cool sort of live, but also pause-based RPG sort of experience where you're going off into this island to discover some sort of cure if you can. It's actually kind of cool and very interesting and distinct. Grand Theft Auto 5. I mean, self-explanatory. You get the online, you get the campaign, GTA. So yeah, it'll probably be here for a bit, and then it'll take it off, and it'll come back, and golf with your friends. Great little mini golfing type game. Goat Simulator. You're just a goat, you smash things. Grounded, sort of a really cool cooperative-based survival game in the backyard where it's like kind of Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. Really neat. They're still working on it because it's game preview. Then we got our Halos. So Halo the Master Chief Collection is a must-play out of the whole Game Pass library. It's got all the good Halo games thrown into it. And then you can continue the story with 5. If you like real-time strategy, the Halo Wars titles are pretty cool. They're kind of well done. And Haven is a lovely romance-based game, which is a little bit different because it actually focuses on this couple and their sort of journey together. It's actually quite lovely from what I've played of it. Hellblade is awesome. It's like ASMR, the video game. Put on some headphones, have a great night with that one. It's really well done. Story set up, its sequels coming down the road. It's going to be fantastic. Kids love Hello Neighbor. Injustice 2 is a really good combative fighting game using the DC characters. You don't need to have played the first one. Asha Racing is actually a pretty surprisingly well done arcade title. Arcade racing title, so that one's worth checking out. People really like Hollow Knight and Human Fall Flat. I didn't really play them, but yeah, so they might be worth checking out. Jurassic World Evolution is like a park building game with dinos and stuff, very authentic to the series, so you might like that. Cameo is a really cool action sort of game with a character that has different elemental beasts that you can play. You got your Kingdom Hearts, very convoluted, but people love them. Killer Queen Black's actually a really cool little 2D competitive, quick, fast-paced game. Crossplay, everything like that. That's actually kind of neat. Killer Instinct Combo Breaker. Really cool fighting game. A gem of the Xbox lineup that a lot of people ignore. Long Dark survival game, people like that. You got your Maddens, which is football. And then you got your Mass Effect titles. 1 to 3 are worth playing. Definitely good, although I would wait because eventually on the service we'll get the remastered version of it, the legendary version, so maybe wait on checking these out until the upgraded version comes. The Medium is a great psychological horror title, definitely worth checking out. It's a next-gen experience that's certainly good and really cool, and I don't think enough people played it, quite honestly. Minecraft. It's one of the biggest games in the world. Everybody loves it. Perfect for the younger audience, perfect for the adult audience. It's like Lego, but in a game format with animals and creatures and survival. I've played thousands of hours of this game. 100% worth it. One of the best on this list. And Minecraft Dungeons is sort of a Diablo-esque sort of dungeon crawler spin-off of Minecraft. Again, it's appropriate for the younger audience and everything, but they throw in a story, a little bit more, kind of set up and constricted in regards to what you're doing, but still in the same vein of Minecraft. Mirror's Edge Catalyst, a Mirror's Edge, kind of cool platforming sort of survival, but, exploration type game. It's very linear, but kind of cool. Faith's a pretty cool character. MLB The Show, you like baseball, you got your baseball. Monster Hunter, good co-op, people like it, it's interesting. So, not for me, but yeah, kind of fun. Mount Blade Warband, crazy multiplayer knights and fighting and stuff like that. Moving Out, I believe, is leaving soon, but it's a really cool co-op game about just kind of getting things out of places. You got your NBA Lives. I think some of these are getting removed. You got your NBA 2K21. Narita Boy is supposed to be really good. I gotta work through that one. It's supposed to be like a 2D Destiny type, or not Destiny, but reaching your destiny kind of thing, like Tron-esque. My Time at Porsche is a delightful Harvest Moon-esque experience. It's actually really charming and a lot of fun. You got your Need for Speeds. Neon Abyss is actually a really great roguelite with lots of cool combat, intense over-the-top action. New Super Lucky's Tale is a really good 3D platformer. It's really charming, really lovely. You got your NHLs, Nier Automata. A lot of people love that game, JRPG experience. Night in the Woods is a really charming indie title that a lot of people love. You got your 2 Oris, Ori in the Blind Forest, Ori in the Will of the Wisps. A little bit difficulty, but they have some options for you adjusting that. So they're really cool platformers, gorgeous stories, Disney-esque scenes to them, very beautiful. Octopath Traveler, a really well done, modern but throwback JRPG experience with lots of dialogue, lots of intensity, and multiple character paths. We talked about Oblivion. This one's also worth checking out. It predates Skyrim, so a little rough around the edges, but still good. No Man's Sky is a fairly epic, sort of space-based exploration title. It's really cool, really interesting, and great to play. Spend hours kind of exploring the cosmos. The Outer Worlds, Fallout in Space, really well done. I loved it. It doesn't take forever. It's got like a preset story and everything. I really enjoyed it. Outriders, great looter shooter title. A lot of fun. You can play with a group. You can work together. It's got a great story. It's got a great end game. Highly worth checking out. I'm not sure if this one's sticking around for longer, but Overcooked 2, great co-op game. You're making food. You're sending food out. It's hectic. It's crazy. We got your Perfect Darks. I think they're definitely cool. Get familiar with the character Joanna Dark as you prepare for or next showcase on Xbox in the near future as they work on a new title for that. Peggle is absolutely delightful and charming. Pillars of Eternity, if you want to get into Avowed, those ones will kind of get you there. A Plague Tale is a great story-based, or well, narrative-driven experience between a young woman trying to take care of her brother. There's rats, tons of rats on the screen, thousands of rats on the screen. Totally cool. Planet Coaster, you're making an amusement park with coasters and stuff like that. It's really well done, really good. PvZ Garden Warfare series, Neighborville, and 2 are your best bets in regards to finding players. 2 is considered the best of the series. Neighborville is the most recent. You can find players easily here. It's basically like Battlefield, but for kids. Really, really good. Well done. Well done. PUBG, basically PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds Battle Royale. Definitely worth checking out. A lot of fun. People love it. It's cool, it's different if you like the Battle Royale genre. This one really was a big title for a while. Prey, great mystery title. Lots of surprises, hidden secrets, and things to do in that one. This is sort of a... I don't know, I'm not going to go over that one. Quantum Break, great narrative-based game from the people that did Control and did Alan Wake and stuff, playing with time and that concept. Very, very good, exciting, and an enjoyable experience for sure. Rage 2 can be kind of fun. It's an apocalyptic, sort of light RPG shooter game. And really over the top, really wild, in like a punky color style. It's really cool. Rare Replay is full of classic gems. I believe it's 30 rare titles. You get your Banjos, you get your Conquerors, you got Perfect Dark, you got Cameo, and you got all their classics. It's kind of cool if you want to blast from the past. They got grabbed by the Ghoulies in there too. Recore was another title that I thought was criminally underplayed by people. It's a really cool sort of platformer with a color-based combat system, and you're grabbing parts. The dungeon things at the end are ridiculous, but I think they got some difficulty options now to help with that. But yeah, definitely worth checking out. I think Jewel, the main character, and her robots are absolutely delightful, and I really wish we would get a follow-up. Rise Son of Rome, really cool, sort of quick melee-based action, story-based game where you're sort of doing like a Roman centurion type of experience. It's actually nice. Rush is good for the kids. Rocket Arena, you're just kind of blasting each other, knocking each other out of arena. It's actually kind of fun, and I don't think enough people checked it out. River City Girls is a really good beat 'em up, like a brawler game. It's actually well done with a kickin' soundtrack. Very, very good game. I actually do suggest it if you like the old Turtles, or if you like the Battletoads game. Similar things like that. It's actually quite nice. Resident Evil 7, first-person Resident Evil game. People like it. It's kind of creepy and it's crazy. It's scary. Sea of Thieves, the ultimate pirate adventure, open world, play with friends, you play with friends or play with others online. Very, very well done game that continuously gets content, and you just kind of live the pirate life however you want. Secret Neighbor, the kids love this one. It's kind of like Dead by Daylight, but for the kids, and actually it's kind of fun. They go in, they try to grab keys and stuff, and kind of well done experience. Soul Calibur 6, great fighting title. Definitely deserves the love if you like combat games. It's actually really good in that regard. Sniper Elite 4, kind of interesting. If you like the Zombie Army series, that's sort of where that comes from. You go through a different campaign being a sniper. That's kind of interesting. Slime Rancher is an adorable farming game where you're farming slimes. They're so cute. They're so awesome. This game is amazing. Definitely check it out if you like Harvest Moon or anything like those along those lines. Super good. Skate 3, skateboarding. Sims 4, simulate real life, kind of, whatever life you want, and get jobs and everything like that. Build your house, build your dream house. Have fun in The Sims 4. Fallen Order, it's sort of a Dark Souls-esque Star Wars title with a character kind of doing his thing. A lot of people really love this one. You got your Battlefronts. Battlefront 2 is actually really great. All the eras of Star Wars and a shooter that's kind of similar to Battlefield. I wouldn't play the first one. I think the second one's worth it. And a story in that, too. If you like space-based, basically flight games, Squadrons is your bet. State of Decay is kind of fun. You can play both of them. You might just want to go to the second one, though. It refines on the first one a lot and has co-op stuff. It's a zombie survival management game. Stellaris is basically like Civilization, but in space, sort of. You do colonies, or you build colonies, and you go out and you do all sorts of things. It's a 4-time strategy game. Sunset Overdrive, absolute gem of the Xbox One library. It's certainly worth playing. It's very funny, it's very quirky, it's got great movement, great shooting, a great atmosphere. Definitely cool. Survival game set in the water. Lots of people love it. Streets of Rage 4 is a beautiful modern take on the Streets of Rage series, continuing it and doing some wonderful things with the style of the franchise. Basically, you're sort of managing a Mars type of city and stuff, so that's kind of fun. Tales of Vesperia. JRPG, lots of people love it. This is the definitive version. This is an interesting, alright, sort of narrative-based game. It has some really important modern elements to it that I think are quite cool for its story. It's got really great kind of core characters to it, and it's an episodic experience where you kind of are making slight choices and trying to figure out this mystery around what happened to their parents, which is kind of cool. Terraria, it's like 2D Minecraft. I know people get really mad when you say that, but it kind of is. And it's got some bosses and monsters. Rainbow Six Siege, well loved, sort of, competitive multiplayer game with destruction, lots of different characters. They keep adding it and keep changing to it, or changing it all the time. So that one's kind of well loved. Got your Titanfalls. Titanfall 2 is the one to go for. It's got a story. It's got multiplayer people still play. It's something people call everyone's favorite little indie gem. If you like hunting, that one. Tetris Effect Connected. Really, really great modern take on Tetris, which is kind of cool. Tabs, you can set up crazy battles. This is like doing a simulation, creating a hospital and stuff, sort of SimCity-esque, actually kind of really funny and well done. Unravel, gorgeous platformer, just really heartbreaking. They've got some challenging points to them, but they're quite delightful. Then you got your Viva Pinatas. Trouble in Paradise is the one to go for. You build a farm, deal with animals. Adorable, cute, awesome. And then we got your Walking Dead games, so I suggest playing the Walking Dead 1, 2, A New Frontier, and I don't think they have the fourth one on here. Michelle miniseries, turn 2 and 3, those ones are all broken up. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3, and then hopefully 4 at some point will come back. Great game. It's like Left 4 Dead, but a fantasy-style Warhammer experience. Certainly worth your time. This is a really cool roguelite, which is really atmospheric and neatly colored aesthetically. It's kind of cool. It's pretty hardcore, and you're like this guy in the afterlife of a cowboy. We Happy Few, really interesting story, neat survival bits, interesting challenges as you work through these kind of multiple perspectives to be different characters. And it's got a survival mode that's sort of tacked on too that you can do, and the DLC is really quite cool as well. This is a good duo co-op game, A Way Out, working together in order to get out of jail. You need co-op for that one. You got your Wastelands. They're very good titles, very cool. Sort of, I guess, ARPG to a degree as well. Kind of worth checking out. I loved Wasteland 3, and what I played of it was really cool. Your Wolfensteins, I like all of them. I think they're all worth checking out and all worth playing. You start with... See, the Old Blood is like a prequel to the New Order. It's also standalone. So maybe do the New Order and see if you like it, and then go back and do the Old Blood. I think Wolfenstein Youngblood's fun. It's kind of a co-op one, but you should probably play Wolfie 2 when they add it back on here before this one, because it comes after Wolfie 2 and kind of works towards Wolfie 3 when that comes out. You got your Yakuza titles. Long games, all worth playing, all fantastic. You play 0, Kiwami, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're all fantastic titles. Wreckfest, great destructible card game, smashing, destroying things. It's so crazy and wild. Worms WMD, best Worms game. Worms is like a turn-based destruction game with worms. It's awesome. World War Z, another Left 4 Dead-esque title where you're basically fighting huge hordes of zombies and working together to survive. Super cool. Definitely well done. Great, sort of, I guess you could say, 2D platformer title. Lots of dynamics to it. Ukulele's fun. Zombie Army 4, great co-op game with you and the group kind of working to fight the undead and the zombies and stuff. The spin-off of the Sniper Elite series, and really cool and well done. I do suggest also playing the trilogy, but you can jump into the fourth one. You're not going to miss anything at all story-wise. And finally, Zoo Tycoon. Yep, Zoo Tycoon. Great for the young ones. Kind of fun, building a zoo. And yeah, these are the Game Pass titles. If you made it through it, I hope you enjoyed it. Liking the video is pretty awesome. Subscribing's cool too. And let me know how I do with my suggestions. Lots of good stuff on Game Pass.